Now ask yourself, after you've seen all that has just come before, whether I merit a distinction, which is the highest grade achievable, or a pass, which is the second lowest grade. Also take note that over the course of the year, I was the student representative for my entire academic year. There's a certificate that's going to come on the screen confirming that honor that I held and the skills that I showcased or confirmed as a result of holding the position. And regardless of the unjustified treatment that I received, I pushed on with my work and I carried on with my practice. I was not going to be fazed by what I thought was unjustifiable and inequitable and just a low blow as far as I'm concerned. And I tried to do this by applying for a PhD at the Royal College of Art, which is the #1 creative school in the world. And initially I got accepted. I got an acceptance letter. But within weeks of that acceptance letter, I got a rejection letter telling me that the acceptance was given to me in error and that they had to unfortunately revoke the place, even though the offer made was already accepted and the like and so forth. And I had never experienced anything like that before, so I decided to engineer a meeting with one of the people in the department called the School of Art. I was able to get a meeting with one of the professors there, a professor by the name of Rebecca Fortnum, and she was very diplomatic and graceful about seeing me and listening to my concerns. She said to me that she also had never heard of a situation like that before and she couldn't explain it. However, she cannot deny that there is institutional discrimination and prejudice which is rife in most institutions, not just in the creative industries. And she simply advised me to reapply, and I have reapplied every year since 2013, maybe apart from a year or two. I think I've made a series of consecutive applications, including the current application for the academic year to come. I have yet to receive a response from that application. I'm sure the current world situation has something to do with it. Nonetheless, that application is live, and I am yet to receive my place that was originally offered to me. Although the responses of being accepted and rejected was in 2014, I didn't actually engineer a meeting or get a meeting until 2017. The chain of events of being accepted and then being rejected, coming on the back of the experience I had on the MA program at Central St. Martin's College of Art and Design, was a lot to deal with psychologically and spiritually. And so I took a break from the development of my career and my practice by going to teach for a while, teaching in education secondary school level. And it wasn't satisfying, not in the way that I thought it would be. Not that I didn't enjoy the process of the mechanics of teaching. I just didn't appreciate the administration of a teacher's role. There are a lot of redundant activities attached to being a teacher in most countries. So I decided in 2014-15 to go back to my practice and go back to my studio work. And in the process of developing new work, I reignited my fire for my work and saw that the natural progression that I desired was still ahead of me, was still in front of me. So I went back to Central St. Martin's between 2015, 16, 17. I went back to meet with Mr. Landrum and asked him to start a process to change what I thought was a wrong thing, or what I perceived deep down in my consciousness was a wrong thing. And in the whole process of doing that, I also contacted the RCA and engineered this meeting with Rebecca Fortnum and in 2017. And the following year, in 2018, I wrote her a letter, and I would like to read to you, the viewer, some parts of this letter because it adequately describes my position and it helps you to understand what I'm up against.
To recap, as mentioned just before, I went back to Central St. Martin's to meet with Alex Landrum to change what was done. My thinking was that he would do the right thing. The certificate shown earlier, confirming my position as student rep for my year, outlined that 1. Developed skills in personal, online, and group communication. 1. Worked alone and with others to achieve real change, and became a dedicated and motivated volunteer for the benefit of others. An example of this was when I campaigned for the CSM teaching staff. You see, in 2012, CSM was moving from Charing Cross Road in central London, its historical site where I spent my time, to King's Cross, a new development for the college's new era. In view of this move, a few teaching contracts were not being renewed, and as a result of developing close relationships with some of the people on staff, I campaigned for contracts to be renewed, and this campaign was successful in helping people to keep their jobs. Along with the enterprise of my work, I have scholastic desires, and I acted upon a natural progression by moving to further my work at the RCA. As mentioned earlier, I had a meeting with Rebecca Fortnum, and on that occasion, I took along an original art grunge painting.
When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel like the richest man in Babylon, and I've done my best, so everything's alright inside. Oh, every morning.
Over the years, I've been developing work on the body, the landscape, and that in between. You will hear in the letter written to the RCA of an incomprehension of the proposal attached to my application.
I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing.
This proposal is based on the production of new work about the sky, celestial bodies, and happenings, such as the sun, its movements, the moon, and such things.
So when the evening comes, I lift up my eyes to the...
I believe this is why they claim not to have an understanding.
I'm blessed, oh man, with my two hands in the air as far as I can. Yeah, as far as I can. I can, yeah. My two hands in the air as far as I can.
However, if the proposal was about the social archetype of blackness and its linchpin in history, that is, Afro-asiatics in chain, I'm sure there will be much understanding. However, I am not inclined to reproduce such images.
Oh, every morning I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing. Yeah. Lift up my eyes to the hills, I'm blessed, oh man. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
My life and my work is largely based on independent and verifiable research, and not solely on a defunct educational system. For example, accredited research finds that the place on earth called Nigeria has cultural and civil history that is more than 2,000 years old. This is in stark contrast to the popular belief that Nigeria began in 1960. My story is our story, a story of mankind. And there needs to be balance with the life force.